Absolutely. South Korea, another exciting nation in Mexico's group, one of the host nations of this World Cup. I think for a lot of us, especially of our generation, South Korea came on the map in the '02 World Cup when they were hosts.
100%. And that's where I knew about South Korean football. If I'm being totally honest, didn't know a great deal about it. But Gus Hiddink was the coach at the time, obviously well-respected coach. And I remember being at school and we used to get the mornings off to be able to watch the World Cup. And this team was just so vibrant, high energy. And the way that they attacked with purpose as well, it was kind of like, wow. It's very ignorant to say, but I didn't know South Koreans could play football like this. And then ever since then, obviously, there's been a plethora of players and teams that have gone on to just further educate the uneducated like myself, and then played in the Premier League against Ji-sung Park. You know, you're in this situation, you're like, wow, what a player. And then you see how much of a star he is. And I just think he is now going to be the generational talent that makes South Korean football just become well known for being in deep competition runs just because of this young man here.
Yeah, I mean, Sonny's a force, right?
Beast.
Just culturally.
Yeah.
Football-wise, of course, we know that. But his presence will change any team from a marketing perspective, from a footballing perspective. But it's not just him.
Oh,
the likes of Kim Min-jae that made that big move from Napoli to Bayern. The German-Korean Jens Karstrup, who's playing for Bayer Leverkusen.
The biggest star of all, obviously.
Of course. Park Seung-ho, I actually want to keep an eye on beyond Lee Kang-in.
Yeah.
Oh Hyun-ju, who was at Henk earlier on in the season, he scored a goal against Rangers, but now he arrived to Besiktas, and he's killing it.
Yeah.
He's really tearing apart the Turkish league, and all of a sudden, I think sometimes it's very difficult to adapt to a new league, and he's showing that he could potentially be like one of those big stars at the World Cup.
And again, for most people, you know, the big names, but for the two guys that are playing in the championship, in my opinion, they're the best championship players as well.
Really?
Yeah. On his day, Ho can be, he dictates the play. If he plays well, Stoke play well. Again, Birmingham City is my home team. And with Paik, if he plays well, we win. It's just that simple. And I said it last year when they were in League One, he's one of the only couple of players that can go again and go to the Premier League and it will get better. I think they're a fantastic team, and that was the point I was trying to allude to. For most people, they won't realise just how much of a star he is. He's up there with Messi, Mbappe in this part of the world, and he's just a wonderful player, and this is all the things you can take over, Nico.
I mean, unbelievable. You look at a lot of these names, you look at what they've done, their consistency, making 11 World Cups. There are nations around the world that would dream of making 11 World Cups. But 2002, it's been a long time since then, and it feels like they've developed even further.
Yes,
and now they have a lot of like top quality technical players.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, again, Son has been the reason. I think I said Ji-sung Park, I apologise. Son is the one who pushed that forward. And again, when you played against him at Spurs, naturally, there was a moment when he came in and he's like, athletically, he was a beast.
Yeah.
And then you start to appreciate, once Harry Kane had moved on and the leadership qualities that he... I think this is going to be a follow-on from 2002, where we spoke about when we first heard about this South Korea team. It was like, wow, I think now they were going to win that group. And then I think everyone's going to go, hold on.
Yeah.
Who are these guys again? And I think that's where it's going to go forward from there.
I wonder how they take on the responsibility of a match against Mexico, for example. They were once host nations, and now it's kind of flipped to where they're facing a host nation. It'll be Mexico's first game against Mexico in Guadalajara. It'll be the first game in Guadalajara, right? Mexico's playing that first game in Mexico City, so there's going to be a renewed atmosphere, regardless of the result against South Africa.
I think that plays into their favour, though. They've got players that are massive clubs all across the world. They've been in big moments, in big situations, and they'll have a younger crop as well. That they'll be like, okay, this is my moment to shine. So I genuinely believe these are a dark horse for a very deep run because of the energy, because of the technical quality that they have, but also the no fear and the pride that they have within themselves.
Okay, so if you guys are bored and had enough of the outsider's take on South Korea, we bring in an expert. It's Stephen Han, FIFA's content creator, lead, and host Stephen.
Seeing what Son has done. And then you just get that national treasure moment where you go, oh, I can see that, I can be that, and they start to believe it.
I think we're missing one more player from that list who's very important, who's their rhythm maker, who's Hwang In-beom, former Vancouver Whitecaps player, and he's now at Feyenoord. I have a friend that used to play at Feyenoord, and he would talk to me about the quality and the mentality of a player like that in the midfield, also played at Red Star, so has had a lot of these worldly experiences, different football cultures, so a very educated footballer. Let's take a look at the World Cup schedule. Obviously, it's that first match against the UEFA Path D that does include the likes of either Czechia, Ireland, Denmark, and North Macedonia. Not an easy game out of the gates. And then against Mexico, still in Guadalajara, and then against South Africa in Monterrey. Do you see them as favorites in any of these games? Team.
Personally?
Yeah.
In all of
I mean, we have to talk about the head coach, Hong Myung-bo. And, make no mistake, you guys talked about the 2002 World Cup, and Hong Myung-bo is my favorite player of all time. Make no mistake about that. But the KFA in 2024, for more than 6 months, without a head coach, with names like Jesse Marsch, Gus Poyet, and David Wagner, being mentioned as the leading candidates, these coaches who've tasted at least some levels of success in European football, only for the KFA on their own choice to walk away from those coaches and to hire Hong Myung-bo, who himself has come out several times prior to that to say that he won't take the job from the KFA because he does not like the way the KFA is being managed. So when that happened, that sparked pretty much a national outcry from the disappointed fans who wanted, so to speak, a higher level coach. But there's also no doubt that, realistically, when it comes to domestic coaching talents for Korea, there aren't many better than Hong Myung-bo, to be honest, because his success at the 2012 Olympics with Korea winning the bronze medal for the first time.
Footy. It's Footy Kit Friday here on the show. We wear our kits. You must have some sick K-League kits to show off, don't you?
I wish I did. I do have them, but they're stored so deep in my closet that I can't really take them out right now.
Don't worry. I just imagine you watching us wearing kits on a Friday. I imagine that you must have some amazing stuff in your closet from Korean football, because Korean football does have some dimes. So let's talk about the national team. What are the expectations and what's the narrative in South Korea at the moment about what this team can do at the World Cup?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you guys have heard about it a little bit, but there had been some controversy surrounding the appointment of the head coach, and obviously a bit of a trust issue there between the fan base and the federation and the head coach. But, outside of that, the relationship between the players and the fans have always been strong over the last few years. And, the expectation for Korea, realistic or not, is to reach the quarterfinals of the World Cup this summer.
Can you give us a little bit more details on that controversy? Why has it kind of gone up a little bit in the air between the fans and what they expect from the
touching that fine line? Because like I mentioned, the fans' trust in the players. I mean, you guys have just talked about it. Korea now has some of, for their standards, these are some generational talents that they have in their squad. So the relationship between the fans and the players, it's been quite strong. But because of the situation that's been stemming from the KFA with the head coaching, the recruitment process, it's already created somewhat of a very negative vibe towards the national team. And, the expectation is for Korea to reach the quarterfinals, but it's almost like the fans are taking this stance of, we expect you to go to the quarterfinals, but we don't know if you will. Wow. And if you don't, all hell will kind of break loose. So
obviously we don't speak Korean. We don't understand really how strong that noise is. We see the fans show up. They're super respectful. They're super organized. They're super fun to watch at the World Cup. But can they really be that nasty as you say? How football mad are these fans where they can really put the pressure on the neck of these players?
Also, the South Korean K-League, he does have the coaching resume for a domestic coach in Korea, but evidently and obviously, his profile is just apparently not enough to please a lot of these fans, because Hong Myung-bo's failures at the 2014 World Cup during his first run with Korea, that really left a big disdain, on a lot of these fans, for him. But that's also when he overtook a completely broken team with only about 9 months to go until the World Cup 12 years ago. So, hopefully this time it's a little bit different.
You just spoke to the fan base, and I just want to allude to that. So I feel that what you're describing with your fan base is very similar to the US fan base. There's an expectation that is quarterfinals or bust. I kind of agree with you. If it starts a little bit wobbly, Can that fan base play a negative factor as well as, obviously we'll talk about how positive that fan base can be. Is that a fair assessment?
In Europe at the moment, having scored 4 goals in his first 4 games, he scored in every game so far. He's an athletic number 9 who can score from the tightest angles, but also at times a little bit prone to doing too much at times and kind of missing that decisive action, from time to time. But if Korea can get him going, this can be a really fun team to watch because he's also a player who plays with a lot of swagger and he's a fashionista off the pitch too. So he could be the potential next big star for Korea. And amongst players who are already sort of established, who we haven't talked about as much, maybe outside of Korea, it's definitely another player that Nico was mentioning, the 500 midfielder Hwang In-beom, who is far and away the best midfield facilitator for Korea, a former Vancouver Whitecaps midfielder as well.
We're not going to talk about Taegeuk. Birmingham City. I'm a Birmingham City fan. I don't know whether you've noticed this, but for me, he is fantastic. Last year, he ran the midfield in League One, by far the best player.
Even for Koreans like me, sometimes it's hard to judge just how popular or just how passionate some of these fans can be. But I mean, some of you guys might remember back in 2014 during Hong Myung-bo's first run with Korea, when they went to Brazil for the World Cup and went 3 and out. It was a disastrous World Cup for Korea. When they came back home, eggs were thrown at the team.
Wow.
So that's the kind of level that we're talking about.
I never heard that story, so that's amazing. I just want to talk to you again.
Football culture, bro.
No, it is absolutely. Yeah.
Eggs.
And as players, you got to wear that one and just keep walking. I just want to know. Every World Cup, we see breakout players. You're talking about this generational talented group. I agree with you. Who is the player or the players that we should look out for and go, this is the next one? This is going to be the next big South Korean star?
I would mention that one player that Nico was just talking about, Oh Hyun-gyu at Besiktas. He is, make no mistake, the most informed Korean. No doubt.
Steve, all right, listen, thank you very much for your time. I want you to rate my Korean. I know how to say one thing in Korean, all right? He's laughing. I feel like he has no faith in me. 예, 이름은 니코입니다.
That was not bad.
I should have introduced myself with my name is Nico on the front side of our interview.
Hey, that was more than passable. Nico, that was impressive, man. Yeah, I like that. I like that.
Not as impressive as your Buzz Lightyear in the back that's been staring at me the whole time, but Nico is very impressive.
That's Stephen Han. Thank you very much for your fine compliments. Stephen, he is FIFA's lead content creator for Korea, all things Korea for
definitely top 5 players in the championship. And one of the few players I can see go to the Premier League and will actually get better around better players. I don't actually see a way in which people overlook him. Will he be starting in this World Cup team, in your opinion?
I was just gonna mention the defensive midfield position is where Korea is, I wouldn't say weak, but they don't have a clear and obvious player who can play there, somebody who can partner Hwang In-beom there. So Baek Seung-ho, obviously, one of the strong candidates to start there because Korea has a couple of injuries as well in that position. So they're going to have to find somebody new. It could be another player that you guys just mentioned, the German-Korean midfielder Jens Kastrup, who plays at Borussia Mönchengladbach. But yeah, Baek is obviously one of the strong